both of us. Today, let me lay out the format of what's going to happen today. Enrique is going to give a background presentation on Lipovetsky, and hopefully from that it might stimulate some discussion, some questions, some comments, and then I will direct or loosely guide a discussion talking about Lipovetsky and then also the death of media text. So, and then after that, Enrique is going to talk about some new gadgets on the market, that the big release of the what's it called?
You already know.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You know better than we do.
And then at the end of the session, we'll have some administrative questions and just some technical things to deal with, and then maybe talk a little bit about the next class. Just a few minutes on that. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so let's start with the ugly part of the class, the framework, trying to understand what's going on. I was just talking some minutes ago that it is very important that all of us understand that in humankind, we first think, and then we transform. We don't just, change things and make tools for changing the world. It's first the thinking of the world that generates the changes. So it is very important that with this type of courses, it is very easy to go to the easy part. That is using technology and just waiting for the next gadget to appear, to incorporate it. But that's not our way of approaching things. We have almost like an ethical statement to try to understand where's all this coming from. And after that, because we can use it better if we understand why it's there. So that is why most of our classes are going to be like this, First, we talk a little bit about ideas and philosophers and sociologists and all this stuff. And then we try to understand what's happening today. And at last, and I know it's the exciting part, but at last we can see the gadgets and how we can use it for our works in the Tomorrowland and all this stuff. Okay, so I have the ugly part. I'm commanding the ugly part. So let's talk a little bit about ideas. Gilles Lipovetsky is a very important French philosopher from today. I met him about 3 years ago. He was at the Tech for several days, and I came to be like his garden dog, while he was there, and I took him here and there and everywhere. And we talked a lot, and I made an interview to him that appeared in several reviews and newspapers. And I came to know the guy, and I think he said a lot of extraordinary things, helping me understand what's going on today. He talks about the present. He's one of the few philosophers that doesn't want to go to the past for just going to the past, or just looks to the future in a very fatalistic way. No, he's very into talking about the present. Like Tocqueville did at his moment, like Baudrillard did at his moment. Today, Lipovetsky, I would say, is like a garden of our times, trying to understand what is going on, no matter if it's good or bad. He's just trying to describe, like a chronicle of what is going on today and trying to understand it. So that is the main reason why a lot of people don't like Lipovetsky today, because he doesn't have these moral statements like saying this is good and this is bad and life is going to be terrible in the future if we do this and that. He doesn't do that. He sees himself more like somebody who is just opening his eyes and trying to see what's going on and describing it. Okay? Lipovetsky has very important books. The first one in 1983 he published, more than 25 years ago, The Era of Emptiness. If you want to have a deeper approach to Lipovetsky, you should read The Era of Emptiness. It is, I am so surprised when I read this book that even though it is written 25 years ago, more than that, he's talking about today. Of what's happening, because again, he's talking about ideas much more than circumstances. So read that. He has these other books: The Empire of Ephemeral, The Twilight of Duty, The Third Woman, the hypermodern times. And this is our reading for today, the hypermodern times. So what I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes, I hope, 15 at most, is to explain 25 years of the thought of Lipovetsky. He's going to hate me for that. I shouldn't do that, but I have no more time. So I'm going to go really fast. Anyway, if there's any question or something that is not clear, please let me know. What's emptiness? Lipovetsky describes emptiness as we are changing from one model to the other, and we are stuck in the middle. If we were in the first, stage, we would be okay. That first stage is the stage of socialization, where social values is important. Democracy, revolution, ideology, all that is for the good of the common, of the society, of all of us. And we're switching to a model where the mass is not important, but the individual. Okay? So that is rising, and the other is declining. But right now we're in the middle, and that's the emptiness. But that we are, like in the middle of two swimming pools, the hot one and the cold one, and we're just stuck there. And sometimes we're more in one, and sometimes we're more in the other one. And that's the feeling of today. That there's this German expression, the Zeitgeist, the spirit of the epoch, what we feel in the moment. And Lipovetsky says that mainly we are feeling emptiness because we're not from one or from the other. The olders like me are more in the first stage. The youngers like you are more in the second stage. So what's happening, Lipovetsky says, is that the public extension, res is a Latin word for extension or ground, it could be space. The space of the public is coming less and less. And the rest of the private is going bigger and bigger. A geographical example, 30, 40 years ago, we had parks. Today, we have malls. Okay? So the public is shrinking, and the private is going bigger. Oldies, like me, think that today generations don't have a purpose in life. They don't. We can hear old people always saying that there are no values today. But what really happens, Lipovetsky says, is that there are different values. It's not that there are no values. It's just that the values are changing. So, and how are they changing? Well, they're becoming more individualistic. They are coming more about personal realization, about personal singularity, about subordination. It is more and more common to hear, to listen to new generations say, don't get into trouble. Just do what he says. I mean, there's no reason for confrontation. Just do it. That's what we call subordination.